From the fine line between stupid and clever, it's the IGN Digigods. Please welcome the patron saints of quality footwear, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
See, I even put on a really nice pair of shoes. Corey, who sent that in?
That was brought to you by Lorenzo Rafa. Sorry, Lorenzo, you must get that a lot.
We like that. That was a good intro. I like
yes,
that.
it was. Lorenzo, he always emails us a bunch of intros when
he
the time
does.
comes, which shows you how long he's been listening.
Good stuff. We like it. So we got a Vox box today, Mark?
We do?
We do. We got a Vox box, and we got listener mail, and we've got, here, while I've got you, hold on.
Yes. May I help you?
Rummage through that. Find some interesting news. This is how organized we are.
You just handed me a magazine and said, find something.
Rummage through this week's Home Media magazine. See if some other reporter has actually done our homework for us and has come up with a scoop that we can then relate secondhand to our listeners so that we sound intelligent.
Okay.
That's what we do.
I'll tell you what. You talk about your British crap. And
there isn't any this week. We got foreign, we got really cool movies, we got some animated stuff, and we got a lot of television, including a little bit of British stuff. And then we got a Vox box, we got some listener mail, and I'm going to talk for a second, actually, right at the top of the show. I'm going to talk about Cirque du Soleil. And I say this only because the Cirque du Soleil is like the big deal again, Mark. We have Iris in Hollywood, which is a permanent fixture at the Kodak, which is very much in line with Hugo and the artist and this whole retro history of cinema thing that's going on. There was a little bit of it during the Oscars because it was in the same room, so they kept the rigging, and we had a little bit of that trapeze work, the two guys. And I saw that, and that was amazing. And then I went and saw OVO down at the Santa Monica Pier, which is leaving this week, which was really extraordinary because it was nice to see a Cirque du Soleil in the tent again, too. The tent experience is a different thing from seeing it like in a place like the Kodak. And you know what? It occurred to me. Here's the beauty of Cirque du Soleil. Cirque du Soleil has the business model that movie studios should have.
By the way, we're talking about this instead of the idea that we just walked out of the Hunger Games. Instead of that, we're talking about this.
Which tells you what we think of the Hunger Games.
No, it tells you what you think of the Hunger Games.
Well, whatever. Meh, it's fine. It's okay. I think it's horribly photographed, but otherwise it is what it is. I mean, you said it right. You and Andy, I think, were saying that it is the best movie you could expect from this material.
Yes.
Yeah, which I agree.
Which is fine. It doesn't make it a bad movie. It just means that it's the best you're going to get from a young adult sci-fi novel.
Yes.
From a combination of The Running Man and Survivor. But I do agree. It was cut too fast for me, and there was an unconscionable amount of handheld stuff at the beginning, which director Gary Ross eventually throttled back on. I also felt that the central love affair between the girl, very well played by Jennifer Lawrence, and the kid, who I don't know who the hell he is, that central love affair never really went anywhere.
Not really.
But, I thought it was completely fine.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is what it is. It's just, I think it's really poorly photographed. But anyway, that notwithstanding, the whole Cirque du Soleil thing, I was thinking, you know why people will go to see any Cirque du Soleil show? I mean, OVO, it's about, they're all dressed as insects. And the whole thing is about an egg. There's always a little bit of a narrative. And there's this egg, and they're all trying to get the egg. And everybody's, going after the egg because they're all bugs. Some of them are spiders. There's like two women. They're the spiders. And then there are, the cricket people and the whole thing. And you think, why would people just go and see this? Like, they're bugs. You know why? Because it's Cirque du Soleil. It's a brand. You know that no matter what the story is, no matter who the cast is, the brand represents something. It means, you're going to see some contortionists and you're going to see some trapeze work and so forth. And there's going to be some comic relief, but there's an expectation, regardless of all of that stuff, of the kind of entertainment that it's going to be. When you see a Warner Brothers Shield, what's your brand expectation?
It depends what...
There is none.
Well, in early Hollywood...
but I'm not talking early. I'm talking now. What have they done with their brands?
They made it into Harry Potter.
Well, there are no more Harry Potter movies, so now what's Warner's brand?
Nothing.
Exactly.
They need to find another Harry Potter. That's what the studios have to do. They have to find brands, big marketable tentpole brands that become their thing.
Yeah, well, the Dark Knight, Batman, that'll be over soon. No, it can't just be. It's got to be an expectation of the kind of entertainment you're going to see, the kind of quality you're going to see. Warner Brothers used to be gangster movies, Bette Davis, Alan Ladd. There were a lot of things that were associated with the brand. The brand was the sum total of those things. Studios don't have brands anymore. They just don't. Disney is, but they're devaluing that as well. Disney's now becoming Pixar. You know?
Well, Disney has been obviously riding the Pixar wave for many years. And now with Cars 2, you realize that Pixar wave is not bulletproof.
Yeah, it's very
There
true.
can be a bad Pixar film.
Well, right now, just in honor of my Cirque du Soleil experience, I just want to make a quick recommendation of some Cirque du Soleil DVDs and Blu-rays. Journey of Man, which was their actual film, is out on Blu-ray. I would recommend that. Just get associated with the brand again. And Corteo is out in a Blu-ray. And if you're just sticking with the DVDs, I think Allegria is great, and I think Dralion is great. Even though those really are overdue for being released on Blu-ray, we need a big gnarly kicking Sony release of a Blu-ray box set of Cirque du Soleil stuff, and we need some more recent shows.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
I want more Blu-rays.
I agree with you. I'm right there with you.
I'm replacing all of my DVDs with Blu-rays. You realize that?
I do. I'm doing the same thing. Cirque du Soleil represents the future of Hollywood. There, I've said it. French-Canadian circus people, carny folk from Quebec represent the future of Hollywood. I've seen two Cirque du Soleil shows, after which we should get on to talking about DV freaking Ds, which is the reason why we're here. Yes.
I saw one of the ones in the tent where I appreciated the artistry, but I don't like that whole precious twee French mime thing, where the French mime walks out on roller skates with the inside out with the inside out umbrella.
You've heard
it rains on his feet or something, and he sheds one tear made out of something.
I urge everyone to go and listen to the Patton Oswalt bit on Cirque du Soleil, where he says it's catnip for old people. It's a very, very funny bit. And there's a hedgehog riding a tricycle with and I won't go into it. But anyway.
But the Beatles show Love.
Yeah.
Was so good.
Oh, I heard that.
So good, I almost cried. Because this music that I had been listening to and loving for 30 years was coming to life in a way that was so exceptional. I loved Love. I cannot recommend that highly enough. The rest of it, whatever.
I am going to talk about, for a second, Downton Abbey, Season 1 and Season 2. Well, Downton Abbey, the original, I guess we can call it a mini-series, which now has gone on to an actual Season 2. Both of these on Blu-ray. I have completely caught up with this, and I'm hooked. I got to tell you this. I teased this last week. I'm totally hooked. The thing that I love about Downton Abbey is that it represents the genius of Julian Fellowes, who, of course, was an Academy Award winner for Best Original Screenplay when he wrote Gosford Park, the Robert Altman film. And this is kind of Gosford Park-ish. It's very much that upstairs-downstairs thing that's going on generally around the Edwardian period of World War I. World War I figures into this. And yes, it's a soap opera. It's a soap opera, very British style, so it feels a little bit more sophisticated. But you know what? It's just so well written, so incredibly well directed. And Julian Fellowes, by the way, is going to be writing the new Star is Born. Not Star is Born, but the new
Star Wars.
Star is Born. The new Barbra Streisand of Gypsy. Streisand is going to play Mom in Gypsy. We don't know who's going to actually play Gypsy yet, or who's going to direct it. But Julian Fellowes writing it. I think that's genius. Here's the thing. Watching this, I recommend anybody who wants to see how movies should be directed. Don't watch any movies. Watch Downton Abbey. There are scenes in Downton Abbey that are covered better than most feature films are covered, and they're edited better than most feature films. I mean, this is great filmmaking. It is great television. It is great film. It is great storytelling and great acting. It's amazing. I can't believe how good this show is, and I hope it runs forever. I'm hooked on television again, for crying out loud.
Wade,
and really good on freaking Blu-ray. It's great. It looks like movie stuff. It's movie.
Oh my God!
It's movie.
It sounds like a blurb. Wade, there's two Tarzan DVDs out. Now, Tarzan years and years ago was a TV show, not just a book and a movie and a thing. And it starred a handsome young gent named Ron Eli.
Who I know as Doc Savage, Man of Bronze.
No.
Really?
No.
He was Tarzan once.
No.
Yeah, I know.
No. Ron Eli,
Yes.
who I knew as host of Face the Music, which was a rip-off version of Name That Tune.
Yeah, you're right.
In fact,
That's so weird. He was a game show host. I totally forgot that.
in fact, you know what? I'm going to tell you a story about Face the Music.
Tell me.
The very first review of anything I ever wrote was a review of Face the Music.
No kidding.
It was about 75 words, and I wrote it for a junior high school, handmade, student-only junior high school newspaper called The Wizard, which was created and published by J.J. Abrams.
Oh, that's right.
And I think I still have that issue of The Wizard with my review. Oh, get this! I even remember a line of it. This is all true.
Yeah.
My review of Face the Music, which I wrote
Yes.
for JJ's
Paper.
paper, The Wizard.
Yes.
The last line was something like, "They should call it Face the Other Way."
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. When you know what? When you're 13,
That's good
That
stuff.
is high comedy. That is high comedy. Anyway, Tarzan, the first season, part 1, and the first season, part 2, now available on DVD. Not a big fan of the show. It was a hit at the time. It made Ron Eli. What's it? Eli.
Yeah, Ely. I remember the Ron Ely, but whatever. Look, I never understood him as Tarzan. Here was my problem with him as Tarzan. First of all, Cheetah, the chimp. I'm sick of people making it like chimps or some kind of sweet animals. They rip off penises. Okay, that's all I know about chimpanzees. Every time I hear about a chimpanzee in the news, it's like a chimpanzee that bit some guy's face off and then tore his penis off. I'm sick of hearing this. These things are not fit to be pets. Not cute. Don't like it. Cheetah, go away. The Ron Ely thing, he's too sophisticated to be Tarzan. I never understood it. It's like he's a Harvard grad running around in a loincloth in the jungle, and he always comes to the rescue of people when they need to catch poachers. What? This was the weirdest series, but I liked it as a kid, so who cares?
Wade. What are we going to do with you?
I don't know. Showtime's got a couple of gal-centric shows. They got more than a few, but they got 2 here. Nurse Jackie and Weeds. Nurse Jackie's into season 3. Weeds, believe it or not, for crying out loud, to season 7. I cannot believe this has been on for 7 years. That is just staggering. Anyway, both of these seasons are now out in Blu-ray, and we like Weeds a little bit. I guess fair enough. It's a strange premise to have kept on for 7 years, but somehow they maintain it with sharp writing, and I guess the whole marijuana-centric plot seems to have more than a little where there's smoke, there's fire, right?
I don't get it.
Ba-dum-bum. You get some cast and crew commentaries actually on both of these Blu-rays. You get all kinds of little featurette-y things on Weeds, as well as a gag reel and some deleted scenes, and a multi-screen comparison thing. There's a little bit less on Nurse Jackie. There are some cast and crew commentaries, a featurette and a gag reel. A couple of featurettes, actually. Nothing special. It's all just kind of standard promotional stuff. Totally different shows, by the way. I gotta say, of the 2, I probably prefer Nurse Jackie just because I kind of have a soft spot for Edie Falco a little bit. But, regardless, they're sharp shows. Showtime kind of positions them a little bit askew from the HBO sensibility, and I think they're kind of finding their way with the Showtime show. And, there you go. And whatever. They're not great. They're not terrible. They're fun to watch occasionally. Justified is actually a pretty cool show. I'm really kind of catching the vibe on this whenever I can catch an episode or 2. And it looks gorgeous on Blu-ray, a lot better than it does in broadcast, I'll say that. This is the complete second season on Blu-ray. And Timothy Olyphant has really found his groove on television in this show. This is a great part for him. He's a very talented actor, and I'm glad he's really found something that allows him to kind of do something different every week, because he really does. It's a well-written character, and one of those shows that kind of has enough latitude in its premise to let the actors stretch now and again. Special features include outtakes and deleted scenes and some featurette stuff, a roundtable discussion that is exclusive to the Blu-ray that's pretty cool, The audio is very, very sharp, and like I said, it really looks better on Blu-ray, a lot better on Blu-ray than it does in broadcast. The colors are richer, and this almost more than most Blu-ray releases of TV shows kind of gives you a sense of just what the difference is between broadcast high def and real high def when you get it on a Blu-ray. So there is a difference. Streaming will not make up for the loss of quality.
I hope not. Otherwise, we won't have a podcast.
No, that's true. That's very, very true. It's a sad thing when, anyway.
Okay. It's a sad thing
I can ramble and, look, I'll start talking about cheese sandwiches before long. Let's get into, what do you got over there, Mark? You got anything interesting?
Speaking of cheese sandwiches,
Yeah.
I had food poisoning this weekend.
Oh, did you really?
I did.
That's nice.
You did not want to live my Saturday night. My Saturday night, literally, here's the weirdest thing. So I ate chicken. I ate chicken that I had made.
Why is food poisoning always chicken based?
I don't know. It's usually Jewish based too.
I had food poisoning from chicken. I had bad chicken at a Sizzler salad bar once.
Yeah,
but anyway, carry on.
40,000 years ago.
25 years ago.
Okay. Between 8 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. on St. Patrick's Day, you could have dropped me in my underwear in the middle of the North Pole, and I would not have been shivering as much as I was shivering Saturday night between 8 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. And then I couldn't even sleep. And then,
Is that what happened to that guy who made the Coney 2012 video?
Yes.
Okay. You know about that, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Drunk and masturbating naked on the streets of San Diego.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
So then I'm obviously not getting to sleep. So I'm lying on the couch, fetal position, miserable. And then finally I go to sleep and I wake up and I'm like, this is great. I got some sleep. I look outside. It's a little bit dark out. I figure maybe it's, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, but at least I got a good 5-6 hours of sleep somehow. I look at my iPhone and it's still 11:30 from Saturday night. So I didn't get 7 hours of sleep. I slept for like 40 minutes.
Oh, gee.
And I spent the entire rest of the evening literally staring at the numbers change on my clock radio. That's
horrible.
Because I just could not sleep. It was unreal.
Mark, we're going to go to some vintage television
You
now.
don't care.
I don't care, not really. Oh, we got to get this show going. Some vintage TV here.
Oh, somehow your Cirque du Soleil story. That was worth waiting for. Me and my St. Patrick's Day from hell. Oh, who cares about that?
We got a couple of great vintage TV releases from Shout Factory. Here Come the Brides, the complete second season. You know what? This show, I should have known about this show at the time that it originally aired. Because I was a kid, 1969. I should have been all over the show. I'd never heard of it. I only caught this show probably in the 1980s when I saw some reruns, and I was like, "Wow, why didn't I know about that?" Here Come the Brides, kind of a nice. It fit in nicely with the whole Bonanza Big Valley Gunsmoke mentality. It's a little bit frothier. Well, it's a lot frothier, and. You don't really fully appreciate it until you realize just how significant some of the cast members were at the time. A very young David Soul, pre-Starsky and Hutch in the cast. Bobby Sherman. Dude, Bobby Sherman. You remember what a big deal Bobby Sherman was in the 60s?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Dreamy. Girls loved him. Dreamy.
Loved him. He was right in there with the David Cassidy thing and the Monkees. The whole mix. He was part of that whole scene. Bobby Sherman. Whatever happened to him? We have no idea.
Are you asking like I know the answer?
We have no idea. Anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bobby Sherman.
Anyway. And, of course, the wonderful Joan Blondell. Once her movie career had expired, she jumped into doing this series. And she's terrific in it. It's a lot of fun. It, of course, takes place in the 1850s in Seattle, and it's got one of the all-time great theme songs. Really a fun show. Definitely check it out. I think you'll get hooked, and you'll want all the other seasons to come out really soon. And you know what? Was there anything as good as Hazel? Mark, come on. Shirley Booth.
I remember Hazel.
Hazel. Oh, Mr. Baxter. It was the best. Loved it. Second season of Hazel with Shirley Booth, who just the most wonderful cross-eyed, goofy maid you would ever want to have. It makes me want to have a maid, I'll tell you. And the thing I love about these shows back then, sitcoms in the 1960s, they cranked it out. They kicked butt. This is from the 1962-1963 season, and 32 episodes. What sitcoms today do 32 episodes? Single camera, 3 camera, doesn't matter. 32 episodes. That is a clip. These are great actors. Shirley Booth, of course, was an amazing actress. Did wonderful work on the big screen in movies like Come Back, Little Sheba, with Burt Lancaster. It really just absolutely fantastic. Look, it's about a woman who's a maid, for crying out loud. How often are you going to be able to make that premise fly? You need a great actress, and it's really one of those wonderful domestic situation shows that it nailed it in the 1960s. It was a lot of fun, and it's a nice trip in time back. Not really any extras here, but the color is terrific, as it is on Here Come the Brides. The Shout Factory transfers are really, really first rate.
All right, Wade, I'm doing this quickly because these are all shows that none of our listeners will ever rent or buy.
Okay.
Policewoman Season 2. This Policewoman was a big deal back in the 70s because it starred Angie Dickinson, who was a sex pot back then, and having a female cop. Having a show centered around a female cop was like a big deal in 1973. So now it's 1974. We have Policewoman's second season. Good stuff. Earl Holliman, we all love Earl Holliman, basically from this show is the only way we know Earl Holliman, but he wound up really milking an enormous career doing like game show guest spots and variety show guest spots just based on his appearance as Angie Dickinson's partner, Sergeant. Anyway, Policewoman Season 2, Matlock Season 7. This is a show for old people, and it's just terrible. Okay, no one cares. Now, actually, these two are cool, kind of. Kojak was a cool show. Kojak was Telly Savalas played a detective who was bald and liked lollipops, and he was terrific, And not only was there a Kojak TV series, there was also a series of Kojak made-for-TV movies. Now, this is back when the networks literally had made-for-TV divisions. They called them MOWs, Movies of the Week. And that's what the networks would do. They had divisions that would do nothing but crank out movies of the week for NBC, ABC, and CBS. Nowadays, it's not that way anymore. Nowadays, the networks, they do reality shows, and they've sort of ceded a lot of that territory to like USA and FX and whatnot. So some of these Kojak movies are pretty good. Some of them are really bad, especially when you start getting to the later ones, like in the mid-'80s, and they ended around 1990. But... some of these are pretty good. Kojak, the complete movie collection for the dad on your list.
He was bald.
He was bald, and he liked lollipops.
Ving Rhames, the rehash with Ving Rhames didn't really work.
Yes,
didn't work.
No.
Mission
Impossible, the 1989 TV season. This is a bit of a story, only because Mission Impossible, of course, was the famous show with Peter Graves and Leonard Nimoy and Greg Morris and Barbara Bain and Martin Landau. And legendary show, great theme, very complicated stories, really well received. They made 4 movies or 3 movies or 16 movies out of it.
Yeah.
In 1989, they brought it back. And Peter Graves came back and as Jim Phelps, leader of the Impossible Missions Force.
Yeah, that comeback didn't really work. Didn't fly.
It did not. There were 16 episodes in this last season that never really went anywhere. And it's all compiled on this DVD. It's called Mission Impossible, the 1989 TV season. Only if you're a Mission Impossible completist or you're just curious would I check this out. Otherwise, it does not hold a candle to the original.
And you know what's really peculiar? I don't know why this is very strange. We want so many television series to be out on Blu-ray. I mean, good shows that are well shot. Why on earth would they choose to put That 70s Show Season 1 out on Blu-ray? It's a 3-camera show. It really doesn't have much to offer on Blu-ray. It's just a very peculiar choice. But obviously, someone's clamoring for it. So here we have a Blu-ray release of the first 25 episodes of That 70s Show. And they try to hype it with a whole bunch of extras and never-before-seen footage and featurettes that were not previously released, bloopers and bumpers and all kinds of stuff. And it's so what? It's still that 70s show. It's still a 3-camera show. Very strange thing to put out on Blu-ray. It doesn't really benefit that enormously from Blu-ray, but I guess if you just don't care and you're clamoring for it, then there it is for you.
I don't like that 70s show for one reason.
It gave us Ashton Kutcher.
That's one of them.
Yeah.
I said one reason, didn't I? I mean two.
Okay.
It gave us Ashton Kutcher and who's the other kid? Topher Grace.
Topher Grace, yeah.
Two of the most unlikable actors on the planet.
Yeah. The Killing, the complete first season. This is an AMC series that has gotten all kinds of attention, and it reminds me. It's funny, the tagline that they stick here on the cover: "Who killed Rosie Larson?" reminds me of who killed Laura Palmer.
I know.
It's very much like Twin Peaks in the sense that it takes a killing of one individual and it spins this elaborate web of intrigue around it. It's unlike Twin Peaks in the sense that it's not completely off its rocker and all tweaked into David Lynch land, because Twin Peaks became just bizarre and supernatural in the coolest way. This is cool in a different way. The Killing is a very well-written show. It's a very psychological show. Great parts all around. It obviously spins this web of intrigue around this one killing. It encompasses everybody involved. It takes place in Seattle, a very different Seattle from Here Come the Brides, I would point out. A more dangerous Seattle. And full disclosure, I'm a little bit biased here because the lead detective on the show is played by Mireille Enos, who I actually know. I've known the Enos family for like 25 years. So, great family. Her older brother's a very good friend of mine. And I am rather elated that her career has taken off so with such velocity.
So goodly.
It is. It's great. It's terrific. I mean, she's an incredibly talented actress. She does a great job on the show. And, here's to her. It's could not happen to better people. All of it. The whole show. It just has, this is a little bit like Downton Abbey. It has a real cinematic flair to it. And the writers aren't afraid to take risks. I mean, without giving too much away, there are things that happen on this show that are shocking for a television series. You can't imagine that they go there and that they take those risks, and that's so rare and it's so refreshing.
Wait,
Blu-ray, by the way, Blu-ray. Get the Blu-ray, not the regular DVD. Blu-ray shows really, really well shot. You want to see it on Blu-ray.
Wait, I have a recommendation.
Go ahead.
There's this New Zealand show that I bet a lot of you have not seen.
Which would be?
It is called The Tribe, and The Tribe is it's kind of a New Zealand British kind of a co-production, and it's essentially, how do you explain this? I guess it's like Mad Max meets Lord of the Flies.
Oh, gads,
where,
really?
Yes, where a virus wipes out all the adult population of Earth, and only the kids and teenagers are left, and they have to fend for themselves. And it's total post-apocalyptic stuff, which Wade and I grew up during the sort of like the end of the Cold War. So we love post-apocalyptic stuff like Mad Max.
We do.
And this is total post-apocalyptic fun. This thing, this DVD they call it a series over there, but the season 1, part 1. And the reason why I guess they can justify a season 1, part 1, which I really hate, is because they cranked out hundreds of these episodes. And this season 1, part 1 has 26 half-hour episodes. You are getting your money's worth. And I like this thing. I think this thing's a cool little show. In fact, they should make a movie out of this. They make a movie out of The Hunger Games.
Yeah, true.
They should make a movie out of The Tribe.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Anyway, good stuff. It can use some special features, but what are you going to do? You still get the first 26 episodes of a very imaginative program, which I really liked flipping through, called The Tribe.
Nice. All right, we're going to get to some listener mail and Vox Box in just a moment, but 3 final little television mentions for those who are into the whole tweener teen thing, that horrible, insufferable Nickelodeon, Disney, ABC family audience that I just can't stand. We've got Nickelodeon's Victorious, the complete second season. To me, this is like, I don't know, Glee meets Saved by the Bell. It's impossible to even watch 10 seconds. It just drives me crazy. Thing that was an original movie called Geek Charming. This was Disney, and then it's got 10 episodes of this thing called Shape It Up. Once I see those just cherub faces, I want to scream and just strangle them all. And Volume 1 of Jane by Design, which is an ABC family series that just started, starring this young woman named Erica Dasher with Andie MacDowell as well. Andie MacDowell I feel kind of bad for her because to play the mom role, to play it's basically a mom role. She's an executive here, but it's the mentor role is probably the better way of saying it. It's all kind of teen fantasy, and it's all about fashion. And Andie MacDowell is just a supporting actress here, and it's sad that at this point in her career, she's now relegated to being that. I guess it's maybe a little bit like I don't know. It ain't great. I'm sure there are teenage girls that are seeing wish and dream fulfillment all over the place in this show and who have no idea who Andie MacDowell is or why they should care. But for crying out loud, she was a lead in Green Card.
I know.
Give me a break.
But the problem is
that 4 weddings and a funeral.
You know how
it's frustrating.
Here's a problem with aging. When I first saw Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I thought to myself, man, I have a crush on Mia Sara.
Yeah.
I watch that today. It's like, I'll sleep with Ferris's mom.
Yeah.
She's about age appropriate for me now. And that's just a terrible feeling.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Wade, did you like my chocolate chip cookies? I gave Wade 2 my chocolate chip cookies before we started.
Yeah. Undercook them next time.
I'm afraid when you undercook cookies, you undercook the cookies, and then you use the spatula to take them out of the tray, and they start to fold up on themselves because they're so undercooked that you worry that they're going to never come together. Are you saying that's an unfounded worry?
Unfounded worry.
Got it.
All right. Listener mail first, and then Voxbox.
Okay.
We got one from here from Daniel Buckley, who says, hey guys, you buried the lead on the new Out of Africa Blu-ray. They did what appears to be a new transfer. The 2010 one was pretty bad. The new one looks really good. No crazy edge enhancement. Detail is high. Color looks good. I guess someone at Universal is paying attention, or else the Transfer Monkey was at the vet that day. See, Transfer Monkey. Somebody who's listened to us. Here's the thing. And I wrote him back, and it may be a case of the player, too, because I did look at both of them on the player. And if you're looking at it on a good player that compensates for bad discs, it tends to be an equalizer. But I didn't see anything sufficiently brilliant in the new one. It just doesn't the movie looks better than either of these discs allow. And to me, that's still a problem. It looks to me like it was the same transfer, but that they perhaps treated it differently. What I think they need to do is not just take a bad transfer and tweak the color and tweak the compression, but take the HD transfer that they have right now, that they took both of these from, and throw it out. And do a restoration of the film, and then do a new HD master. That's what they need to do. Stop cutting corners. So, it may be better, but it's still not what the movie deserves. And then we have one here from Peter Kozores. Kozores. I always mispronounce his name. Peter from Toronto. Wade and Mark, I'm slightly embarrassed to admit this, but I rewatched American Pie a few weeks ago in preparation for the upcoming film, and I recall, and he's talking about American Reunion, of course, and I recall the differences between the theatrical and unrated versions of the first film. As was mentioned in this week's podcast, though both cuts are 96 minutes in length, Mark was correct. One scene was replaced with another. The scene in particular is the infamous pie-loving scene. In the theatrical version, Jason Biggs' character is caught standing with the pie at his crotch. However, in the unrated version, he is laying in the missionary position on top of the kitchen counter with the pie. The unrated version also contains a few extra seconds of nudity and profanity. It makes all the difference in the world, doesn't it, Mark? Changes the film.
By the way, I just want to say for the record, I like being correct.
Yes. Moving on. Next mail. Hey, Wade and Mark. This is from Lord Bamet S. Dragons, by the way, writer, philosopher, programmer, and game designer.
That's not his real name.
Ignis Bamet Urera Peret Perpetuo.
He's crazy.
Bamet S. Dragons, who has written intros for us before, says, I have a beef with you two. You talked about Tintin and were very dismissive of it. You were dismissive of the plot, the characters, felt it was too noisy, and so on. And that's fine and good. Everyone is allowed their opinion. But then you didn't mention the most important scene in cinema history. 2 words, crane fencing. Again, I feel the need to repeat this to get my point across. Crane fencing. Take the ancient art of sword fencing, and then replace the blades with cranes. Bravo. Mark?
I don't remember that. I put most of that movie out of my mind. What was crane fencing? What happened? What happened there? You realize that I actually fell asleep during Tintin. I'm not kidding. It was so exciting. It was boring.
Oh my!
See, movies have to have a pace.
Yeah.
Even in the most exciting film you've ever seen, There are scenes where the characters stop so the audience can take a breath, so that some exposition can be put forth, maybe some character stuff going on. Tintin to me was just a whole big mess of just action, and I got it was so exciting. I was bored. I fell asleep. So it's possible that the crane dancing deal happened while I was in blissful slumber. And
yes,
not only was I in blissful slumber, but while in blissful slumber at the Tintin premiere,
yes,
I was dreaming of the free food that was coming my way at the Tintin reception.
Yes, you were.
Damn right.
Our good friend Walter Gass, longtime listener, right? He sent me a frowny face at my declaration that Game of Thrones is just fine, and I said, I said, I'm sorry, Walter. I just can't get with it. A bunch of people wrote us regarding Chevelle Dixon's intro that we were perplexed by, and Chevelle Dixon, among others, wrote back and said, sorry for stumping you guys with the opening. It's actually a reference to Pinocchio, where Pinocchio goes to Pleasure Island, and all the boys who go there get turned into donkeys by the coachman. I think that may have been a little obscure. I totally forgot about that. He says, I also don't know what's more surprising, that Wade wanted to be in an unmarried woman at 14 years old, or that I'm not surprised he wanted to be in an unmarried woman at 14 years old. And when I first read this, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not a perv. I didn't want to be in an unmarried woman. I just want to be in the movie An Unmarried Woman. That's, give me some credit. Gee whiz. And then our last listener mail of the week.
Go nuts. I don't know what you're doing, but it's very entertaining to the audience.
I'm sure it is. Last one of the week is from Brian Swagel, who gave us a very, very funny opening the other day that Corey riffed on. He says, I had a laugh when you guys brought up the Three Musketeers movie. A friend had me watch it with him yesterday, and it was beyond absurd. Wow. And this is coming from someone who paid $10 to see Tim and Eric's billion-dollar movie through On Demand. Brian, I'm so terribly sorry. I had to watch that for radio a few weeks ago, and no one should be forced to suffer through that. All right, and without further ado, Mark, shall we go into VoxBox?
We love VoxBox.
Did you want to do the little VoxBox intro that you do?
Oh, yeah. Wait. I forgot what it is. It's something like VoxBox.
Yeah, close enough.
Wade, Mark, it's Kane in Cambridge, and what's up with the Devils? I've emailed you guys before, and Wade, you responded. Now I see they're finally releasing the Devils on DVD, at least. An official release. It's a cut version, but I think it's the American version. But it's only available in the UK as a PAL DVD. I had an all-region DVD player, but now it doesn't work anymore, and I'm not going to buy another one because I'm sort of moved on to Blu-ray, and, it's a pain. So basically what I'm asking is, what's up with the Devils? Am I going to get at least a U.S. release or possibly a Blu-ray? Any news? Ken Russell is rolling over in his grave. Help me out.
All right. That's from Kevin Kane in Cambridge.
Wait, I have the song now.
What's the song?
It's VoxBox.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one, right?
That's the one. Okay. No, Kevin. Here's obviously we don't know. Nobody knows this, and the problem is the Devils was released theatrically in the United States by Warner Brothers back in 1971, and nobody really knows what the deal is, and since we were never able to actually interview Ken Russell, we couldn't even ask him, and he's gone now, so nobody knows. Obviously, it's a controversial film. Anytime you have a scene that's called the rape of Christ in a film, you're going to run into some objections. We don't even have the Song of the South out on DVD or Blu-ray yet. So The Devils, I think we can fairly assume, is going to be very low on a lot of people's list. Because it's Warner Brothers, I could see this getting kind of snuck out there through the Warner Archive releases. So we will keep an eye on that, obviously, and let you know if that happens. But, because there's tons of stuff in the WarnerArchive.com collection that nobody knows about. I mean, they sort of throw it out there, and I think they're maybe a little bit autonomous over there in Warner Archive. But other than that, I mean, it's a wait-and-see thing. It really is. We just got to kind of hang out and hope that eventually the uncut version gets released. In the UK, it makes more sense that they're going to release it because Ken Russell has a much more faithful following in the UK, and I'm sure the rights situations are a little less convoluted.
Yeah, the movie does have a very tortured DVD history.
Yes.
You know, I mean, there was a talk. You know, it came out in 2005. There was a R-rated version that had the Rape of Christ scene put back in and had a documentary on it. You know, it was okay.
Yeah.
2008, there was an announcement of a Warner Brothers version in the U.S. Then in 2010, there was one you could buy through iTunes.
Yeah.
You know, that was removed after a week or so. I don't know the story of that one totally, but there was a version of The Devils. I don't know which version it was, but you can buy it at the iTunes store.
It was not the uncut version, though. It was not. No.
It was not.
No.
Because that title was removed.
Yeah.
After like a week.
Yeah.
I mean, it reappeared eventually, but
it's frustrating.
It's frustrating how that. Well, you know what? Again, as you say, any movie that includes the rape of Christ, is not going to be. They won't be throwing a parade.
No.
When it finally comes out.
No. We're going to get into movies now. You know what? Kino has done a wonderful, glorious thing. They had previously released all the great Keaton stuff, and they've been releasing the Keaton stuff steadily on Blu-ray as well. And they just came out with something I never expected to see, which is the Lost Keaton Collection, 16 comedy shorts from 1934 to 1937. If you know your history, you'll realize that's the sound era. These are not the Keaton shorts that we have all kind of come to know extensively through his oeuvre. These are sound era shorts that he did really after his career had kind of, taken a rather serious nosedive, and so he this is a sound era collection of shorts that he did for Earl W. Hammond's, whose company was called Educational Pictures. And are they great? They're not terrific, but
historically they're important.
Historically, they are important, and they certainly complete our understanding of Keaton's career in a very important way. Some of the better ones here, Jailbait from 1937 is actually pretty funny. Palooka from Paducah is one that some people consider worthy of his silent era stuff. The Timid Young Man and Three on a Limb are both pretty good. So it's if you're a big Keaton completist, I'd definitely check this out. It's got some nice notes on it and a nice little montage of all of Keaton's really funny pratfalls. So great transfer though. Really nice Blu-ray work by Kino once again.
Yeah, because it's interesting how these silent stars had to adjust to the sound era, and Keaton doing educational films was definitely one of the most unique ways of coping and keeping your career alive.
Yep. Very
Wade.
true. Very true. Mark,
yes, what? What did I do?
No, I'm saying I could go on to this, but I think that Oscar is more Oscar worthy.
Okay, although I do love that.
Yeah, I know you do.
That's a great film that you're holding in your hand.
Yes, it is.
But I'm holding in my hand. Hey, don't go there. It's Foxbox. The Descendants, which is on Blu-ray and DVD. I think this is a lovely picture that was completely overpraised. Although I do think it's a lovely film.
I love that movie.
I do. I like it a lot.
I don't think it was overpraised.
Really?
I really think it was great.
I think it is one of Alexander Payne's weaker films. But again...
It won an Academy Award.
So did...
nominated for a crap load.
Well, so did Around the World in 80 Days.
True.
But I'm not knocking the film. I think the film is terrific. I am knocking the praise heaped upon it.
Yeah.
I think part of that was a release of frustration, if not joy, that Alexander Payne finally did another film.
Yeah, true.
That we must now just embrace this thing to our bosom as tightly as we can. Because at this rate, it's going to be 2019 or 20
before he does another
film. So we have to completely... Maybe if we award him enough time, so he'll make another one quicker. But again, it's George Clooney, terrific in it. Everybody's terrific in it. It's a sensitive, it's a funny movie. It's got some moving moments. I liked it a lot. I just think that it was ultimately again overpraised. There's some good extra features on it. A bunch of music videos which are just stupid. Although some of the Hawaiian music is kind of cool because we're not necessarily subjected to Hawaiian music that often. So here's a sense of it. So some deleted scenes, none of which were necessary for the film. So it's a good Blu-ray package, and the film looks good on Blu-ray. It's not the type of film that shows Blu-ray off at its best. I mean, it's a bright-looking film. The composition's great, but just in terms of like, oh my God, it's got to be Blu-ray.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's It's a good Blu-ray package.
Yes, it is.
So I would recommend it just because everybody else saw it. You might as well too.
I love this movie. I love this movie. I've seen it twice. I'm dying to see it a third time.
Really?
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot.
You crazy.
Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, otherwise known in LAFCA circles as Tinker Tailor during our voting.
I love this film.
You like it more than I did. I like it a lot. I think it's very well done. The John le Carré thing is a little bit convoluted. I think when you compress this story into a movie of this length, it forces you to really work a lot harder to keep up with what I think is a plot that's more complicated than the payoff really warrants. But that being said, if you've seen Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy in the original television incarnation with Alec Guinness, you will be pleasantly surprised because they really do complement each other very nicely. The Alec Guinness version, of course, is a number of years old and very long. This is considerably shorter, just barely over 2 hours, if memory serves. I think maybe about 2 hours, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that. And great performances all around. Even though at times I kind of felt that Gary Oldman was doing an Alec Guinness impression as Smiley, he really does make the part his own, and he's very good in it. It's amazing. This was his first ever Oscar nomination. Can you believe it took until this part to give Gary Oldman an Oscar nomination?
But he's great. He's great
terrific.
in it. There's so many directorial, production design, details in this film. Everything, the costumes, the way people look and the way what they're wearing and how it's shot.
Well, that's
so much is revealed in the details, and I love that kind of stuff.
And that's all Thomas Alfredson, who directed
He's so
it,
talented.
who is just so incredibly talented. It's nice to see that he's getting these big studio calls and kind of taking the next step. So we are rooting for Mr. Alfredson, definitely. The Blu-ray is really, really kicking. It's a Blu-ray DVD digital copy combo. It's got a whole bunch of BD Live and Pocket Blue junk on it that you'll never use because, of course, it is a Focus release, which means it's a universal release, which means they have to put all their Pocket Blue stuff on it and still keep that BD Live illusion alive. But the other real regular bonus features are actually quite worthy. There are interviews with all the main people, including Thomas Alfredson and just about everybody in the cast, deleted scenes, and really a pretty good first look featurette on there that's better than most of them. So I think this is a really worthy rental at the very, very least. Cracklingly well-made film in every respect.
Really? A rental?
Well, at the very least, a rental. At least.
You're mean.
I'm going to say
I
at
love
least
this
a
film.
rental. Well, there you go. And then Jonah Hill, made this movie, The Sitter, in the same year that he was getting all kinds of acclaim for everything else. And I think he probably feels like he shouldn't have done this because this is back when he was really kind of corpulent. So if you've seen him lately, like in 21 Jump Street or even in his, corpulent phase, but where he's very, very good in Moneyball, this is just unfortunate. And it's not a good film. It's basically Adventures in Babysitting with a guy. And it's The Sitter, the totally irresponsible edition. Jonah Hill is The Sitter. Not a good movie by any means. This is a Blu-ray DVD digital copy combo as well. It includes both an unrated and a rated and an unrated version, neither of which is very good. This is 20th Century Fox at their very weakest, and even the extras are just filler. It's all just filler. Nothing here that anybody should really pay attention to. Again, Adventures in Babysitting with Elizabeth Shue, which was done, 1989? Something like that. Way better. So much better. Jonah Hill, we expect more from you.
This is not a movie, Wade.
What isn't a movie?
This is not a movie.
What isn't a movie?
This movie called This Is Not a Movie.
See, I wanted to keep the Abbott Costello thing going a little longer.
Now, what's funny is that This Is Not a Movie, which stars Edward Furlong, Peter Coyote, is it's supposed to be this kind of, meta comment on our society of television and phony news and this kind of stuff. It's just a piece of junk. But what's interesting is that this one's called This Is Not a Movie. There's another film called This Is Not a Film. Now, this is not a film.
This is not a film. Is the Jafar Panahi thing, which I talked about on the radio the other week, which is really worth seeing.
Really worth seeing.
Yeah.
So there's This Is Not a Film, which is worth seeing, and there's This Is Not a Movie.
So not to get the two confused.
Which is not worth seeing.
Yes.
This is not a movie with music for some reason by Slash.
And these are not my pants.
No, that is correct.
No, I'm telling you, these are not my pants.
Understood. Is really bad.
Yeah, well. Sorry.
Forget that. Now, this movie, the one in your hand,
Oh,
come on.
yes.
Get some.
Well, we were talking about Jonah Hill, and Jonah Hill, of course, kind of comes from the Apatow clan, and also from the Apatow clan is Jason Segel.
You got to circle that around.
I had to. I had to have a segue. You know what? Of all the people in the world, now mind you, I just saw his new film that he acts in that he didn't necessarily have anything to do creatively with. But Jeff, who lives at home,
yes, disappointing.
Really disappointing. We saw that together, and that's not good. But you know what? The Muppets. Shockingly good, shockingly wonderful, and Jason Segel deserves almost all the credit because he co-wrote it. He acts in it. I mean, it's pretty much his baby, and bravo! I mean, it really reinvented the whole Muppet thing in the most delightful way. I couldn't be happier. Is it like all the old Muppet movies? No, it's not. It's a little bit like them, but it's kind of reinvented, and I think it's exactly what the Muppet franchise needed, and I thought it was delightful. The whole idea of a guy who has an actual Muppet for a brother, but he's kind of like he doesn't realize he's a Muppet, and he worships the Muppets. And I talked about this.
It's almost like Peter Griffin doesn't realize that Brian is a dog.
Yes.
I mean, he knows Brian's a dog.
Yeah.
But he treats Brian like it's his friend.
Yes.
But he's a dog. But they go drinking together.
Sure.
They go hang out together. It's like that.
Okay. I'll buy that.
I'm not sure I bought what I just said, but you get where I'm going.
I
Point being
do.
is, I love this film too.
I love it. The music's great. It's nostalgic. And here's the thing that I think is most appealing about this. Really, and I know I'm going into film nerd territory here, and I've said this 1,000 times, but the Muppets, My Week with Marilyn, Hugo, and The Artist all really tell the same story. And 3 of them came out during the same week. It's the story of fear about losing celebrity, about the fleeting nature of fame. It's actually absolutely delightful. And Beaker. How happy am I that I get to see Beaker on screen again? Boop, 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 boop. My favorite Muppet, far and away. Beaker.
No way, Swedish Chef.
Swedish,
board.
It's a Swedish Chef and Beaker together. It's a team. So anyway, the Muppets, we love it. This is the Waka Waka Value Pack. It's Blu-ray, DVD, digital copy, and soundtrack all together. And it is just a total delight. Parents, kids, everybody, all ages, you will love everything about it. Loaded with bonus features. You can watch this for hours on end and it'll never get tired. This is family fun through and through. Absolutely got to get it on this Blu-ray edition, which, by the way, comes in really cool packaging with a green rim to it. The Blu-ray has a green rim and a cardboard sleeve. That green, of course, is in tribute to Kermie.
Yay. Love it.
Gotta love the Kermie.
Gotta buy it.
Gotta love the Kermie.
Love it. It's all good.
Also, there's a Snow White thing going around, and we're getting kind of sick of it. There's all this fairy tale stuff on TV and in movies. Mirror Mirror is getting ready to open, and then there's Snow White and the Temptress opening soon, and everybody's talking about Charlize Theron, Julia Roberts as the Dueling Queens. And while all of that is going on, we have a DVD here called Snow White: A Deadly Summer, which I look at and I go, what? Another one? What are we doing here? It's just really, really using this up. And then I looked at it, and I realized Eric Roberts is in this. And when I realized that Eric Roberts was in it, yes, that means it must be cheesy. Because Eric Roberts just doesn't show up in real movies anymore. Hasn't for decades. You know what? What can you say? It's like there's so little connecting this to anything related to Snow White. It's really just a straight-up, straight-to-video horror film. And it's only marginally connected to Snow White. It's kind of a little bit more Nightmare on Elm Street-ish. And it's, mediocre. I mean, I guess genre fans will get a kick out of it. But it really has there's nothing to do with the fairy tale here. It really isn't. It's just almost thematic connection only.
No, because they all have to be... here's the thing. Everything has to be reinvented.
I know.
For the hipper, slicker teen crowd, like Twilight.
Yeah.
It's all got to be reinvented and made. Everybody's gorgeous and beautiful and 17 years old, and it's all a big metaphor for adolescence and falling in love for the first time.
It's about a girl who goes to who's like her stepmother. It's almost more Cinderella really than anything else. It's about a girl whose stepmother sends her away to this camp to try and conspire to get to off her. But anyway, silly Snow White, Deadly Summer.
The surprisingly successful Hop is now on Blu-ray. This movie is not very good. It is it's a combination of live action and animation. It answers the question, who's going to be the new Easter Bunny?
Ah, yes.
I know. You think to yourself, E.B., voiced by Russell Brand, he should be the new Easter Bunny. But no.
No.
He wants to be to be a drummer in a rock band.
Yes.
Which means that they can sell a soundtrack too. Not only make you see the movie, but make you buy the soundtrack. Oh, it's all so terrible. Anyway, this thing is, it's fine for the kids, only because it is so overscored and overdone at every level, and so sickly sweet that it is really just for the tiniest of tykes. Anybody over the age of 10 will probably just get diabetes from watching it. And
the guys who wrote this are the same guys who wrote The Lorax. I'm just saying.
Another film that's doing surprisingly well.
Yeah.
Anyway, Hop it's got a bunch of. This movie's terrible. You know what? Come on, just take it away. I'm done.
The only reason that anybody should really want to see The Hills Have Eyes Part 2, Wes Craven's follow-up to his horror classic, not anything of the more recent Hills Have Eyes. This is the original sequel to The Hills Have Eyes from 1985. Is just because Michael Berryman is just such a freaky-looking guy. He creeps you out every single time you see him. And he's in this once again, and it's the whole cannibalistic desert-dwelling evil clan thing all over again. Nothing new here. It's sort of a rehash, and not really as good as the first one, but it's out on DVD and Blu-ray. And there's trailers and stills gallery, and that's all. And what you want really scary, you're talking about The Ring. The Ring with a lenticular cover here, first time ever on Blu-ray. And this is a Best Buy exclusive. That means that if you actually want to get your Ring on Blu-ray and you want to be creeped out by the little girl crawling out of the television and all that stuff that made me just absolutely go completely bananas, I still think this is one of the best directing jobs Gore Verbinski's ever done, then you have to go to Best Buy to get this. I don't like these exclusives. I don't like the Best Buy exclusives. I don't like the Walmart exclusives. I don't like the Amazon exclusives. I don't like any exclusives. I don't know why they do this. Stop doing it.
The French Connection?
It's so frustrating.
I went the other day. I actually bought a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
With my own money.
We didn't even know about this.
No.
No one told us about this.
That is true.
It's just bizarre. So anyway, The Ring, finally on Blu-ray, but you gotta go to Best Buy. Darn it all. So that's very frustrating to us. Oh my gosh, we're running out of time. You know what? Here we're gonna tease you. Next week we're gonna talk about the new release of Battle Royale because of course the Hunger Games is coming out, and we'll talk more about the Hunger Games once it opens. As if we didn't talk about it enough today, but you know what? There's a good reason why Battle Royale is being released the same week as the Hunger Games, because it's a better movie.
Because it's the same movie.
It's the same movie. But other than that, we're going to have a lot more stuff to talk about next week. TV, movies, animated, kids, exercise, diet video, cooking videos, everything.
Sesame Street in Yiddish.
Sesame Street in Yiddish. We're going to have it all.
That's no guarantee.
Well, I may be able to dig up one of those Shalom Sesames, but those are in English. See, that's the thing.
Fun.
That's not really. All right, with that, I think we're done. We will take all of your emails, all of your listener mails, and all of your Voxbox submissions if you want to send us a recording at gods@digigods.com. Once again, that is gods@digigods.com. And until then, Mark, what's your JDate handle?
No, I'm not telling you. Bunch of crazy guys emailing me. My name is Amber, and I have triple Ds, and I love neurotic Jewish guys from New York. Email me.
Amazing Grace, which was written by a famous abolitionist, John Newton, back in 1779. And really an extraordinary story that was dramatized in the movie called Amazing Grace. But I think the story that Bill Moyers puts together here is much, much more engaging and fascinating and intriguing, and all the different performances and the different versions of it are just really deeply moving. Absolutely a wonderful slice of history that you just won't get anywhere else or any other way, because Bill Moyers is one of those rare, unique American talents. So, Mark, for people who are out there using Match.com, using JDate, who are...
I feel sad for you. I'm your competition.
Part of your community. What's going on out there this week? What should they look for?
Actually, you know what? Here's a piece of advice.
Yes.
When you're looking for women online.
Yes.
And women, they have all sorts of photographs.
Sure.
They have 2, 3, 4, 5 photographs. The worst photograph is what they really look like.